Hello, good evening, everybody. And welcome to this latest event in our Newcastle Develop series. Just a few things before we begin. Usual housekeeping rules. Because this is a webinar event, it is being recorded. And if you're an attendee, your cameras and microphones will be switched off as part of the process. If you would like to ask a question, please use the Q&A box that you should see along the bottom of your screen. The chat is also open, so you can ask questions and answer questions in the chat box as well. A reminder, obviously, that we've got the second part of this event next week, the live Q&A session, which we've signed up for. And at the end, there will be a link shared that will provide you access to all of the slides from this evening and some of the free resources that Sam has very kindly put together for us. And without any further ado, I'm going to pass over to our speaker this evening, Sam Waterfall.
Thank you very much, Jeremy. It's a pleasure to be here. Good evening, everybody. I understand that throughout this webinar, you're going to be able to hear me. And also, if you want to use the chat, that's the best way to communicate to me. And Jeremy has kindly agreed to let me know exactly what's happening so I don't have to be watching the chat all the time. So if you've got any questions arising from anything that I've said, I know a number of you have also very kindly added some questions in advance. So we've had a pre-look at those. I'm going to do my very best to tackle them as best we can throughout the evening. Some of them were really specific, so you've sent me some challenging ones. I've had a good think about those. And the more general ones I'm going to try to tackle in the main part of the presentation. But we'll be taking more questions as we go through, so please use that chat facility as we go. So I'm going to bring up the slides, but as we think about that and as we just get the slides into the right place, let us know at the moment, whereabouts are you joining us from? So I can see there's getting on for 30, just over people coming in at the moment. So whereabouts are you at the moment? I see Sheffield, Colin. Pip is in Oxfordshire. Don't be shy this evening. This is all about you. Gateshead, fantastic. Beverley, Bucks, London. Thailand, very good. Nice and late in Thailand. Germany, Huddersfield. Very good. All right, so most Philippines, and it's 1 a.m. Very good. Thank you in the Philippines. Very committed, appreciate that. Probably quite warm as well. But my experience of the Philippines is anything to go by. Bangkok, brilliant. Greetings in Bangkok. It's been a while since I've been out to Asia. Miss you all out there. So this is great. Thank you all very much. So, and tell me as well, please don't be shy this evening. It's all about you. So I'm here to help you get through this. And while I've got a stack of slides here and some really tried and tested and proven information for you, I'm also prepared to shift that, and it's all about really making sure you get the outcomes that you want. This is about helping you make career changes when you want to do that. So let's also, now we know where everybody is, what are you working on at the moment? So what are your jobs at the moment? What are you doing, and what industry are you in? So I'm seeing in academia, just finishing a PhD, university professor, hotel events, Robson Guiney, software sales, consulting, manufacturing. We've got a really good range here. So this is museum, teaching, publishing. Fantastic. Now, can you see my slide? With a goldfish making something of a heroic jump. May feel like that when you're thinking about making a move. The whole big idea, of course, about leaving something that might be small, that you've had enough of, that's crowded, and wanting to head out into either waters new or pastures new. So you can see that. Fantastic. Very good. All right. Well, let's jump in. So thank you very much. Really clear then to me that we've got a really diverse set of grads here. Obviously, I'm from Newcastle as well myself. So it's been a few years. In fact, I was invited back to a podcast recently, and I did that, turned up, and was taken on a tour. And if you haven't been back recently, it's really vital that you do go back. because it's changed quite a lot. They've built a whole new section of the university. It's brilliant, really, really amazing facilities. Anyway, it turned out that when I was there and graduating, my tour guide hadn't yet been born. So that really did make me feel a little bit older than I wanted to. But that is life, everybody. But hopefully it tells you I've got some experience now to share with you since I was there. So let's jump into this. What is coming up in the next 50 minutes? Well, quickly to begin with an intro on me in case you don't know me yet. So why have I been asked to cover this topic? And also a bit more on a sort of interactive poll. So again, Jeremy and the team are going to be fielding that. We're going to be doing some interactive polls so we can understand exactly where you are, and that will help me try to give you the best content this evening. I don't know if you've seen the McKinsey report that's out there, but essentially a lot of people are on the move, and that's why this is quite a popular topic at the moment. Loads and loads of people are thinking about making a career move. Of course, it's been the oddest of years, the oddest of a couple of years with COVID. And so we're trying to think about, well, what's going to be right for us and how do we really want to live our lives? Lots of people doing lots of thinking. So we'll look at that. Then I want to talk to you about some big questions. I want to remind you, regardless of how young or old you may be, life is short and it's all about making the very most of it. And that's why I believe this career choice and decision making that we're going to do is so important. We're going to look also at career ladders and walls. So we're going to start thinking about some of these metaphors that we use a lot about career. I want to talk about career greatness. Answer in the chat, could anybody stand a bit more greatness in their career? A little bit more greatness, maybe a lot more greatness. That's something I want to think about for you. I've got a guiding metaphor, which I call Everest and the lily pads. I want to explain that to you. I believe that will be a big help to you as well as you plan your future. And then I want to talk to you about gaps and missing experience, which was at the heart of a lot of the questions that many of you were asking in advance. A lot more greatness, very good, Gav. Okay, we will do our best to help you access that. So greatness on the way. Setting criteria for your move as well. Do you know what? Most people jump into a job search or some kind of move by starting applying. Okay, now that might seem like a logical thing. It's like, I know I want to change. I'll just get some CVs out there. I'll get started. It makes a lot more sense when you think about it to take a little bit of time before you set off on your journey. Think about it as the journey metaphor. It's good to have a map, or it's good to know where you're headed before you step out of the door. So we're going to look at how to set criteria and a really important set of criteria. And again, in the free bonus content that I've got for you at the end, we're going to give you that link so you can access all of that. There is a guide on exactly how to set the criteria. So I'm trying to give this, I want to be as generous as possible for you so that you can really make the transition effectively. We've then got this whole scorecard for you as well. There's a scorecard whereby you can go through, you can answer 33 questions. It only takes about 10 minutes, and it actually guides you as to how ready you are to make your search. How much do you need to do in preparation, or are you ready to actually get started on this? And then we'll do extra Q&A at the end. Okay, and I'm happy to stay as long as it takes, but I know some of you will have to get away, and by that time it'll be about 2 o'clock, of course, in the Philippines, and very late in Thailand too. So let's jump into this. If you've got more questions, remember, ask them to Jeremy there in the chat. We'll try and keep our eye on that as we go. But that's the journey that we're on for the area ahead. Now, I've been doing this for a while. I'm your guide with a plan. People talk about career coaching, and yes, I do some of that, but I'm really also a career consultant. Very often people come to me, they don't necessarily all want coaching. Sometimes what they want is to be told. They want to know what's working for other people. Tell me about that, rather than go through a coaching process. Sometimes coaching is exactly the very best way to get there. Other times it's a consulting process, and it's about telling people what's really working at the moment. So I'm in tell mode this evening. I'm going to be telling you what's working, what's worked for so many other people. I've been doing this since 2004. And the quickest background story, I was working at Boots at the time, Boots the chemist at their head office. And what happened was they decided they weren't making the money they wanted to, so they made a huge amount of head office redundant where I was working. We went from 3,000 people to 1,500 people overnight, and it was brutal. So it was literally one afternoon, we got the announcement, and suddenly so many of my colleagues were gone, and it was terrible. I managed to keep my job, honestly, not because I was so good, I really wasn't, but I was in the right chair at the right time, and sometimes life can be good to you like that. But I asked a few of my colleagues, is there anything I can do? Mostly because I was getting survivor's guilt, and I helped a few of them as a marketer. I'm a marketer, that's my background. And I asked, is there anything I could do? And what they said was, could you check through my CV? And I had worked with them for a couple of years. And I said, look, I've read the CV, I know you're so much better. Why don't we say it like this? And that's how I got started in doing this, because I'm obviously a slow learner, because at the end of it, by the time 4 people had said, you should charge for this, I suddenly thought, maybe there's something in this. And so I started to do exactly that. And since then, I've worked with people at all levels. So I do a lot of work still with universities, with the actual students, with the graduates, and also, of course, with my fellow alumni, whatever stage you're at. I spend most of my time these days with senior leaders. That's where I can help the most. And I move people into senior executive roles. I've just helped someone land a dream role with Amazon, where he particularly wanted to go. It's not the culture for everybody, but it's an amazing company, and it's doing so much groundbreaking work at the moment. So it's an exciting place. It's also a very challenging, competitive place to get into. So I've been doing that for a long time. I also have worked, and so I've been in business. I still am in business as well. So I don't only consult on careers. I don't only coach on careers. I'm also in business, running through businesses as a marketing director myself. So I want to tell you that because it means that I'm in business at the sharp end, like you are in the workplace as well. And that's really, really important. I'm not just sitting in a cave somewhere, cranking out CVs, giving out advice. I'm out there with you doing this. And I know it's tough out there as well. And careers are really, really important. So with that said, now you know the background, let me jump in. Let me work through this for you. I want you to know that this really works. I want you to choose your destination starting this evening. Others have chosen in the past, and they've chosen some of these companies. These are the kind of places where my clients land jobs. So I help ambitious people who want to make a change, who want to make a difference, who want to make a move, get the roles they want. I don't do it for you. I help you to position yourself. And my clients have landed jobs with some of the very most popular employers around the world. So this could be you next. This is exactly using the methods that we're going to start talking about this evening. I really want this to be an interesting evening. You're giving up your evening to be here with me, and I really appreciate that. I value that time. But I also therefore want this to be useful. I want you to be able to take ideas away from almost every minute of what we're going through here. I have spent a lot of time preparing for this evening to condense so much detail into this. So my intention is that this is going to be really, really useful. So thank you from me for being here. Thank you for turning up. Thank you for being here live. My aim is I want to make this the most memorable, pivotal, and useful hour of your year when it comes to your career. I want you to think back when it comes to changing, whatever you're going to be changing, I want you to remember this time. And that's my intention for you this year. It's so important. I'm giving it that value. I'm really setting out with that aim in mind. I hope I achieve it for you. At the end, I've got these 4 bonuses for you. These are a thank you from me for being here. They're also a great way for me to share additional information that I haven't got time to get across for you during this hour. It's all really useful stuff. There's a podcast there. Lots of people have listened to this podcast already. It's got lots of really, really good reviews. And so it was when I was interviewed by an executive recruiter all about, guess what, career change. It's about how do you make that move? What do you need to think about? How do you do the networking? All of those big questions. It's in there. It's about an hour long. So listen to that. There's also a guide which has got 7 strategies in it. It's called the Obvious Candidate Job Search Acceleration Guide. It's got 7 strategies in there that guide you right the way through everything you need to be able to plan your search and speed it up. Okay, so that's all in there as well. It's in this members area at the end for you. This is free. I'm not charging you anything for this. And also 2 versions of a book, which I say is my favorite marketing book. It's a very simple book. You can read it in about 40 minutes. And it was written in 1916. It's called Obvious Adams. Now, it's slightly dated because it was written in 1916. And so from the gender standpoint, I just give a slight health check on that. But the message from it is really, really important. What I'm saying there is it's slightly male biased, and it's just because of the time it was written in. So my apologies for that, but I don't want you to miss out on the importance of the story. So it's really, really good. And the messages in there just help you work about focusing on what really matters. It's about working out what is the obvious thing you need to do to get to where you want to be. That's going to really help you, I promise you. So enjoy Obvious Adams as well. The value on all of that, I promise you, life-changing. Do listen to it, really, really important. And if you're not a listener, you can also find that there's the ebook in there as well. You can read that. So that's all there for you. So the first of our polls, let's have a think about this. Are you actually thinking of changing jobs in the next 6 months? Just give you a few moments there. I'm assuming that because you're on this webinar, there's a fairly high chance, but it might be that you're just planning ahead. So I'm just trying to work out how many of us are actually thinking of making that move at the moment. Just give you a few minutes there to think about it. It's a big decision to move sometimes. I know from some of you, the questions that you've sent in, you're already in careers where you've spent a long time studying, you've invested lots of time. Okay, so 76% think you're moving in the next 6 months. And some, this time I didn't answer the question, I wasn't allowed to answer the question, so that's absolutely fine. So most of you think you're making a move, others obviously thinking maybe more about a long-term future, which by the way is the very best way to use this material. So when we get onto the idea of Everest in a little while, that will talk about exactly that. Let's look at our second poll now. So our second poll, we're going to ask the question here, are you actually considering a job move within the same industry, or are you thinking about a bigger shift into a new sector, or are you not moving? Because of course that's sometimes a much more daunting question there, or a much more daunting step. If you spend a lot of time, I know there was at least one doctor who I think from the question was seriously weighing up a move after a relatively short period of time as a doctor, but obviously spending a lot of time in education to get to that point. So making a move at that point takes a lot of thinking about. Our scores there. New sector. Okay. So that's what most of you are wanting to do. So when you're making a move, it's all about a big move. Okay, very clear. Perfect. That's what I wanted to know. And next poll here. Do you feel confident about that move? What I'm trying to understand here is, where's your confidence level? Is it a fear factor? Be honest on this. Here to help you to make sure that we can try and make that move as safe and as lucrative, quite honestly, as possible. There's more to careers than money, but the money is an important part of it. So you're feeling confident, you've got some concerns, or you're feeling really quite anxious. Okay, so a little over half feeling anxious about this, and unsurprisingly so, right? Because it's a big decision to make, and it's always partly sometimes when you're making a move, it's like, well, should I move to option A or option B, C or D, or do I stay with something, and do I go for one of those that's the most extreme and far away? And of course, if you do something like that, it can be very nervous. And really as well, partly it comes down to what will other people think. Maybe it's parents. Maybe parents have supported you through getting to where you've got to so far. Are they going to be supportive? Are they thinking that you're making the wrong decision? Partners, family, friends. And really it's down to you. That is important, but it's very, very important. So let's work through this. What I want to do today, I'm desperate to share with you this framework of thinking, and that's what we're going to look into. You may have seen a few things like this. So this now is, depending on where you're working, this is in London. This is an advert from a career player. So this is from Reed. Welcome back, London. Remember saying you'd find a new job after lockdown. So they're clearly slightly self-serving there, but they're reminding so many of us that we thought we would move when we got back after lockdown. So maybe we've had a chance to reevaluate. Maybe you could add that into the chat. You know, has this come about because of COVID? Is it because of lockdown? Is that influence? Is it giving you thinking time? Or is there something else there as well? What we've got to is what is being called by the press, the media love this one, of course, I'm sure you've seen it, the Great Resignation. As you can see from this picture, it sometimes feels like absolutely everyone's on the move. Now, the McKinsey research talked about 40% of people moving. if you look at some of the LinkedIn articles, it's been saying at least 6 out of 10 in London are moving. So it feels like a lot. Now, I don't know what the base level and what's normally a level of movement, but I think it's not as many as 6 out of 10. And so I think if you can imagine being in a team, wherever you are around the world, I think the idea of if out of 10, 6 people moving, shifting, that's quite worrying. Of course, it's not going to be the same in every team, but some teams it would be worse than that, if that's the average. So people saying here that the pandemic's been a catalyst, not the pandemic for some, already thinking about it. All right, so you've been working on this for a while, but maybe working up to it. Very good, okay. Well, here's an example. So this is Burger King. They're saying, we all quit, sorry for the inconvenience. And there's been a bit of this going around. So some people are a little bit tongue-in-cheek about the way this is going on. But this McKinsey report, they've talked about great attrition or great attraction. We tend to think about this from an individual point of view. It's like, I want to move, I want to change my career. When you think about it from the employer point of view, the idea that 40% or 60% in some cases might be on the move is terrifying for team leaders, for businesses, because the churn, the lack of continuity there is a big problem. So let's have a look at that number. If you want to look at that report, you can find that. I'll actually put it into that members area so you can actually read the full detail. They're saying it's real. Look at this number. This is where the 40% comes from. You can see this in the graphic here. So 40% in total are saying they're on the move. Out of that, 22% are saying it's somewhat likely they're going to be moving in the next 3 to 6 months. But 18% out of that total 40 are likely or almost certain to be moving. So they are really on the move there. And what was interesting about this was that the findings were broadly the same across industries. So they were also the same across the 5 countries where the study was done, across Australia, Canada, Singapore, UK, and USA. So this is something which is really widespread. It wasn't down to one industry or down to one country. What was also interesting, I thought, almost a follow-up to that article, this was in Wired magazine. There's a phenomenon called the boomerang effect, and it's where, obviously, as the boomerang goes out, it comes back again. And when you talk about boomerang employees, the idea here is some people quit, and then they change their mind. They go, oh, sorry, boss, actually, I made a mistake. Can I come back? And what was interesting here is people have now changed the way they're doing it. What has happened traditionally over the time I've been helping people with careers, people would exit a company and then they would reappear again, maybe 3 or 4 or 5 years later. And they'd come back in a lot more senior and they'd come back in on a lot more money. And everyone who was still there the whole time would say, hang on a minute, what did they just do? And so it can be a very good strategy to boomerang out and come back in. What used to happen is people would take a long time. What's happening now, the takeaway I've got for you here, it used to be a long time. Now it can be within a year. It can be just even a matter of months. And when people are coming back in just a matter of months, they're returning for a lot more money, for better terms, maybe more flexibility, maybe more working from home. So you might be on your way back before you know it, even if you're not planning to. And my advice here is don't burn any bridges. And the way I like to talk about that is whenever you're leaving and wherever you're leaving, always try to be an exemplary leaver. Okay, set a standard that people are just impressed. Be a great leaver, do an amazing handover to whoever's taking over your responsibility, because that way, if you do want to come back, almost certainly the door will be open. And if so many people are leaving your organization, quite likely your boss will welcome you, or unless your boss has left as well, someone will invite you back with open arms, most likely, and maybe for a better deal. So do think about the boomerang effect there as well. Question to you all in the chat there. Has anybody tried that? Has it worked for anybody? Have you managed to sort of go out, come back, add some money, add some benefits? Let me talk to you about big questions. Okay, I am a big fan of big questions. Now, this is a coaching approach, of course. When we think about big questions, I don't have all of the answers, but I've learned the importance of asking the right questions. So what I've got for you as we go through the next few slides are some massive questions, ones that I really, really hope are going to make you remember this moment, make you remember this hour. So think about these. First question is, does this really matter? You know, is it that important? Isn't it just a job? Well, I don't think so. I think this is hugely important. And let me just explain exactly why I think that. How little time do you have? Let me just land this one on you. You know, of course, that 52 weeks is a year. We know that. But have you stopped to consider that it's only 520 weeks until you're a decade older than you are today? I'm sitting here with you today, age 45. I'll be 55 in just 520 weeks. And you know how quickly weeks go by. What was it, Friday again, we say? Well, where did the week go? Those weeks are disappearing. That is your life, okay? And I'm really passionate about that. So getting this right is really important. This is 90 boxes representing 90 years. It's a long human life in years. I started doing this, by the way, and I made this slide when I was 40. Just happened to be that my dad turned 80 the year that I turned 40. I sat at his party, at his 80th, had a quiet moment on my own and just thought, if I get my time again, I'm exactly where he is. And it occurred to me that it didn't take that long to get to 40. And I'm sure you've heard older people say, it speeds up. Doesn't time go faster as you get older? Yes, it seems to in my experience. So watch out for that. Even if you're not there yet, it's true. It just feels like that. Time goes so fast because we're so busy. And what I'm saying here is as well, I realized my dad, age 80, had been retired since he was 65. That meant that I was running out of time. I'd only got 25 years left to get everything done. And guess what? We know that ageism is illegal in recruitment, but it's alive and well. Okay, so don't go thinking it's going to be as easy age 64 to land a job as it was when you were 34, unless you build your career path exactly right. Because if you're the specialist, if you're the expert, if you're the person with the expertise that the world knows to go to, then you're going to still be in demand. So let's make sure you're in that position. Okay, it's really, really important. This is a long human life in months. 1,080 of them. Okay, but just wait. This is your life. If you get to 90, I don't know if I'm going to get there, I hope so. This is weeks. All right, this is 4,680 weeks, approximately 90 years. Sometimes it feels like life's made up of this countless number of weeks, but in reality, look at them, they're fully countable. And you can look at that, you know exactly where you are. You can see where the average life expectancies are for men and women there. So this is your life and some more big questions for you. Where are you today? How many more weeks are you going to give to the wrong job? Some of you have already told me in the chat that you've been thinking about this for a while. Now, I'm not saying jump fast. I'm saying let's move to the right thing carefully and quickly so that you don't waste your life. That's what I'm so passionate about. This is why I wanted to land this heavy story on you at the beginning, because it's a rough story, right? It's ticking away. So how many more weeks are you going to give to that wrong job? And how long do you want to work in your ideal job? Now, when my granddad retired, he was a farmer. When he retired, whenever I saw him, he was either sitting in a chair watching TV or doing something in his garden. I don't want to retire like that. That was right for him, but it's not going to be right for me. I want to do it differently. And I've got this idea, not of retiring just to leisure, but first I want to retire to projects where I don't have to be working full time, but I can work with key people, the right interesting people on interesting projects. We come together, my network of people, and this is why on this call I'm inviting you all, whatever your industry, join my network, because we don't know when we're going to need each other. We're going to become weak ties who are there for each other. And we can come together in project teams. We do stuff, we help each other. And when we're done with that project, we disband. Maybe we go on a month's holiday or 3 months holiday. And what we're going to do then is we're going to form a different project team, different times. And that is how I want to be able to move through. So what I'm going to do, because corporate life or the big jobs that we tend to go early in our career are not forever. You look at how people are working these days, it's changing. It's not a job for life. And it tends to be a lot more of this flexible working. Charles Handy said it best. He was someone that I read about in my studies at Newcastle. He predicted years and years and years ago that organizations were going to be important as organizers, not employers. Think about that. It means that you need to be in the right place. You can get organized, you can bring the right group of people and skills and talent together. But in order for you to be part of that floating network of talent, the world has to know what you're doing. People have to know to come to you for that talent that you've got so that you can fit into that group and deliver and get rewarded well for doing it. It's not always going to be within big organizations anymore. It's really, really changing. So think about this. It's so important. Now, if you're thinking of making a move, will the grass really be greener? There's another massive question. Sometimes we get fed up with whatever it is we think we don't like with where we are, and we want to change things, and we think it's going to be better. But that's why the boomerang effect really happens, because people find out it's not necessarily green. So do check before you make a move that it actually is going to be better. Here's a method for you. You can look this up. There's a lot of TED Talks, or at least several TED Talks. One of them was done, in fact, in the recent round at Newcastle, TEDx Newcastle University, and it was on job crafting. Job crafting is the idea that it's the art, if you like, of reshaping what you already have. And also, when you're making a move, you don't have to accept the job that you're moving to by what was given to you as the job description. Okay? They'll give you that, or there'll be a job advert, and that's what they thought at the time was needed. But guess what? Do you know what? We've all got more experience these days. We're bringing talent. If you're good enough to do the job, you're also good enough to evaluate that job. You might look at that job description and say, do you know what? I think it would be better if I did it like this. And they might say, yes, you're right. That's why we picked you. And you get the chance to maybe do a bit of a land grab and bring in another area of projects, do more, build your team, all kinds of. Don't get sort of shunted in. Don't get blocked in by a description. Craft your job. Think about what it is. And if you're in a job, while you're checking whether the grass is greener, chances are you can do a lot right now where you are. And even if you were to give in your notice tomorrow, wait on that one. Just be careful, right? We're not trying to get you to jump ship yet. Even if you were about to do that, and let's say you had a 3-month or 6-month notice period, you can use that 3 to 6 months. You know what? If you're mentally checked out and you know you're going to be going, sometimes going to work is a real drag. But let me give you a different mindset. The different mindset is this. How could you use those 3 months, those 12 weeks, remember the weeks of your life, how could you use those weeks most effectively to gain the skills, to suck everything out of that organization, to get your talent, your network, your experience as good as it possibly could be before you move? Isn't that a more motivating way to, rather than dragging through and, no, I'm only on week 8, I've got another 4 to go. Think, could you get involved with a little project working on something that's going to give you a perfect interview answer for the future? There's so many ways you can get involved with things if you start thinking about this in the right way. Job crafting is a massive idea that can help you leave well. Okay, so while you're being a great leaver, while you're doing a good job of that, job craft as well, but also job craft when you arrive in a new position. The ladders, okay, before we start climbing a career ladder, okay, people are always wanting to move on. What we start looking at, shouldn't we make sure that our ladder is leaning against the right wall? Think about this. If you're in job A at the moment, you've been climbing that ladder, you've been building what's called career capital. That was a term that came from Cal Newport, and I'm going to recommend some of his books later. Career capital. It's the sum of your experience, your skills, your knowledge, your qualifications, your networks, your connections. And if going back to my doctor who's thinking of moving, you've built a lot of career capital that really works in that job. Not just doctors, it's all of you, whatever you're doing. You're really good. That's your capital. Now, if you move to a different ladder, okay, let's call it a different job, we're making a move, you might be able to transfer the transferable skills, some of that move with you. Okay, that's the transferable skill, that's why we call them that. But maybe the situation of your network within that organization, some of your connections, some of your relevant industry experience is no longer relevant. And so your career capital, your value shrinks. So you've got to be really aware of that. When you move, can you move and keep your capital the same? I'm helping one of my clients move at the moment. She's a litigator, a lawyer. She doesn't want to lose her £200,000 income. Okay, she's doing very well with a leading firm, but she doesn't want to do it anymore. She doesn't like it. So we want to move her into consulting. She loves the idea of big problem solving. What we're going to do is move her across, but rather than moving her just to become a consultant, but all of her legal litigating experience would be wasted, we're going to move her into a consultancy, into their legal practice, so she can go across at the same level with the same volume of career capital. And then when she moves internally, she's already trusted and she'll keep her salary. So can you see how we can strategically hop? We can make moves work for us. So the question is here, shouldn't we check that our ladder is leaning against the right wall before we start climbing up, before we start trying to get the next job? Sometimes people climb and climb and climb. And I promise you, the worst calls I ever have as a career coach are people in their usually late 40s or 50s. And they say, do you know what? I've just realized I need a CV. I need it right. So I've never had to use one because I've always just fallen into the next thing. That's the language. I've just fallen into it. How sad is that? Because someone has always come along to them and said, oh, you'd be amazing. You'd be amazing. Come and do this for me. And you get flattered if you're not careful into doing it or into staying. Oh, you're so good. We'll give you a bit more money. You stay there. I was speaking with someone earlier this year. He said, Sam, you've just made me realize that I've been flattered to staying in a job I didn't want for the last decade. He said, help me move. Help me get out of this. And that's exactly what we did. But watch out for what's happening because those weeks are ticking away. Okay. But we need to make sure we're putting the ladder on the right wall. Okay. So think hard about where this is going. Life is short. What could be more tragic than energetically climbing the wrong ladder? But if you know your ladders, you might say, well, it's the wrong company. I'm just going to move it, but I like the industry. I'm just going to move my ladder a little bit along this wall. Well, you might say, hey, wrong wall, people. I'm off. And take your ladder and put it somewhere else. Maybe that's the big move that we're looking to make here. That's what we've got to think about first. That's the important bit about navigating this. Our next poll is coming up here. Is your career ladder leaning against the right wall at the moment? Are you on the right wall or the wrong wall? I think I know where this one's going to go because of the previous question. It's a big move. Right. Go ahead, Jeremy. Yeah.
I was going to ask a quick question while people are answering the poll. Yeah, the grass is greener. Is it sometimes worth looking at, and I know you're going to get onto it, saying, well, go into it with eyes open. I'll move to a job that isn't necessarily loads better, but it's like that lady you were talking about, but it's a foot in the door to then get to the job that I do think is going to be grass is greener? Or should you always look for a significantly positive step? Like that example of the lady who's a litigator, obviously her ideal is consultancy, but you're doing a stepping stone to get her.
Absolutely, yeah. That stepping stone approach is really important. It's really important. We're going to talk about it. I call it lily pad choosing and lily pad hopping, and that's exactly the way that we do that. It's the way we plan. How do we get on with that one? Okay, most people think they're on the wrong wall. Okay, so in that case, those weeks are ticking. We need to move you along. That's important. All right, thank you. So next question for you here, another big question. What's driving you? And my question here is, are you being pushed out? Is there something that you really don't like where you are that's pushing you? Maybe a relationship with someone in the business, maybe a way of working. Maybe it's just the whole industry you don't like. It's not what you thought it was going to be. Or is there something that's really pulling you? It's like a yearning. It's like, maybe I should have gone into that initially. So you're being pushed away from something at the moment. Here's the poll coming up. You're being pushed away or you're being pulled towards? Let's see what the answer is to that one. Pushed away. Okay, so you're being you're just not happy where you are, but there's quite a sizable number there. It's not far off 50-50 in terms of being pulled away. So we had 58% being pushed away, 42% being pulled towards. Very good. All right, thank you. This motivation thing is important. Clayton Christensen's another book here, which I recommend, and you'll see it in a few moments. He said this: when you feel unhappy and stuck in your career or life, it's usually because you're doing what you're doing isn't really motivating you. Okay? So that's what we need to think about. We need to think about this idea of motivation. Question, massive question. What would motivate you? Really give that some time. You haven't got time now to think about it, but dwell on that one. Come back to these questions. That's why I've put these questions in. What really would motivate you? I read just this week, and it's just about a year since the passing of Lord Rabbi Sachs. I think it was just 2 days ago this week. And I read a piece from his Legacy Trust, and they were talking about what makes a good life. And it's partly about contribution, but they also talked about being well led. So maybe, especially if you're in the earlier years of your career, you're looking for the right leaders, the right bosses as well. It's not just about what you're doing, but it's also being about the right people who can create that opportunity and lead the business correctly. So what would motivate you? And my biggest question for you this evening, this is my biggest question. How will you measure your career? How will you measure your career? What are you going to contribute? Think about all those weeks that you've got, because you almost certainly want to make a mark, some kind of legacy. What do you want to do? How do you want it to be measured? Now, here's some images, because when I first started thinking about the images I could put with that, and that's why you've got wood here for this one, because I wanted it to be generic. Look at this. How will you measure your career? Will it be about making a lot of money? Is it about working maybe in the city? Is it that kind of billions? Is it about that money? For some people it is. Is it about an innovation? Are you going to bring in some new change? Not necessarily on your own, but some people, some teams are really willing to work. One of the things that amazes me, if you've seen what Elon Musk is doing with SpaceX, someone there had this idea that they could land a rocket back down again on its end, like this, and reuse it. Now, when I was growing up watching space shuttles, the rocket fell in the sea and no one ever thought about it again. Like, that was just what happened. And now we don't think like that. But at some point, someone thought, I wonder if we could reuse that rocket, if we could land it again. Did you want to work with those kind of people? The people who are just limitless in their thinking? That's pretty exciting. Is it about some kind of physical achievement? Is it about sports? Some kind of achievement like that? Is it about lives? See, we've got our obstetrics and gynecology specialist on here as well this evening. This was pretty important. This is not my daughter, but my daughter was born like this. And, you know, the skill is incredible. The gratitude is there forever. You know, the skill is so important. There's different ways we can measure. Now, what I want to try and do here is just switch to a video. So bear with me. I'm just going to stop sharing this. I'm just going to show you a brief video and just see if I can make this work. This is about greatness, by the way.
There are no grand celebrations here, no speeches, no bright lights. But there are great athletes. Somehow we've come to believe that greatness is reserved for the chosen few, for the superstar. The truth is, greatness is for all of us. This is not about lowering expectations. It's about raising them for every last one of us. Because greatness is not in one special place. And it is not in one special person. Greatness is wherever somebody is trying to find it.
I love that idea. This idea that greatness is wherever someone is trying to find it. Greatness is there for all of us in our careers if we go looking for it in the right way. Move back to those screens. Let's move past that one. So you saw the little boy at the end there. He found his greatness. If you ever stood on that 10-meter board, that's seriously high. Okay, we watch Tom Daly and the others doing amazing stuff from there. But for most of us, that's a big deal. There's some real courage required in this. So the question there, have you found your greatness? Of course, I'm not going to leave you there just thinking about this. If you're thinking about a big move, every great achievement begins with the decision to try. A lot of you talked about how you're feeling anxious, not sure about this, some concerns or anxious, scared even, fearful. It all happens when you choose, I'm going to not waste any more weeks by doing the wrong thing. I'm going to make the move here. It's that decision. Don't resign yet. I'm going to tell you that again. Wait, we're going to do the planning first, then you can make a plan. When we've got a plan and we know where we're going, then you can think about resigning. Don't do it yet, okay? Where will you find your greatness? I spent a long time thinking about this, and it really occurred to me as I tried to simplify it. It comes with some combination of what inspires you most, what you enjoy doing, and what you do best. So I pulled them together like this, a good old Venn diagram, okay? And I believe that sweet spot in the middle here is your ideal future direction. The sweet spot of what you do best, what inspires you, and what you enjoy doing. Now, how do you find those things? You don't just fill this in one afternoon, okay? What I want you to do is I want you to take a few weeks. I want you to ask yourself, when you're on your phone, you know, we scroll news, we scroll Instagram, we scroll LinkedIn, we scroll. Every now and then something stops us. What stops you? For the next few weeks, here's my message. Pay attention to what grabs your attention. Let me repeat that. Pay attention to what grabs your attention. What makes you stop scrolling? What are you interested in? Sometimes it'll be the jealousy factor. Okay, we can all admit to that. We'll see somebody else that we know or someone that we don't know land an amazing role. And think, oh, that could have been me. I could do that. That's fine. Don't worry about the jealousy. That's all right. We're okay with these emotions. Just jot down what it is you think you could do, what you think you would like about it. Because maybe you wouldn't enjoy every aspect. Maybe it looks as if the grass is greener. What are the elements? Okay, what are the elements of that job that really seem right to you? What do you choose to watch? When you get the chance to choose something on Netflix, when you get a chance to choose, when you've got time, what do you repeatedly choose? What interests you? What frustrates you? What angers you? I keep seeing these boats on the ocean. There was Panorama last night that was all about plastic and the problem with that. These boats on the ocean that are cleaning the ocean. Now, that's a great thing, and I'm inspired by what they're doing. But for me, what's more important is stop people putting plastic in the ocean. So I'm inspired by that as well. I mentioned my daughter. I'm inspired by, there's no guide, right? When you get a daughter or you get a son, there isn't a manual on these things. You have to try and work this out. And so my attention gets stopped by anything which is about her education, trying to help her. What frustrates, what angers, what are you trying to do? What makes you feel jealous or envy? What do you find yourself liking? What do you find yourself sharing? Pay attention and let's see what falls into the middle here for you. Where's that sweet spot? Okay, do this before we speak again next week. All right, it'd be really interesting to start to find out what a few of you have found. What's showing up, what we're interested in is what falls in each of your circles. My lawyer client who I mentioned, who's moving to consulting, problem solving, big problem solving is what fitted into each of these. And that's where we got to big consulting. It was as simple as that for her. Not always as simple as that. So start working through that. Do what I call the elements exercise. What dream job have you let slip away in the past? As in, you could have done that, but for whatever reason, it didn't quite happen. Now, you don't have to go back and get that job, but what were the elements of it that you thought you would have wanted? Let's see if we can build that back in. Sometimes people tell me, I say, well, what job would you have done if you could do anything? Oh, Sam, well, I'd have done Formula One driving. Okay, but I can't do it, they'll say. Lewis Hamilton started driving when he was in karts when he was 2, so I can't catch up. Okay, but what are the elements of that? Is it the teamwork? Is it the innovation? Is it the technology? Is it the international? Is it the travel? Is it the competition? What is it about Formula One? Because all of those elements you can get in other jobs. That's what I want you to think about. What job would you choose if you couldn't fail? If we remove that anxiety, just imagine that. Another big question. What elements of these jobs do you crave the most? You've got to want this. I want you to think about what's your Everest. Everest is my metaphor that guides you. It's up there on the horizon of your career, but I don't want you to get there when you're 64. My job is to help you get there as quickly as possible, but no one gets to the top of Everest in one day. No one gets there in one hop. And so I think of it like this. Imagine we're on the near side of this pond, you and I. Everest is up there on the horizon. We know where we're trying to get to. We know the elements that we want to get in this job. But we're not there yet. But we don't have to get there in one go. We can go on several lily pads. You might put one lily pad foot onto an education experience. So many of the universities are doing that these days. Short courses where you focus on a particular piece of education. You might pick up something about sustainability, about blockchain, about AI. What is it? What's the missing piece of your education that you might need to be able to move on to the next lily pad to jump to the Everest job that you want? Very often we see we've got something missing. The other foot might be on a broadening experience to go to get some closer industry experience. You can't necessarily move straight there in one go. But what we do is we move a little bit closer. That's what we have to do. Very often when we start thinking about this, we realize there are gaps and we need to think about how we can deal with them. So most job descriptions list candidate requirements in priority order. So when you look at a job description that you might want, what do you do if you find a gap? i.e., you've not got all the years of experience that they want. You don't have a qualification that they need, or you're missing some industry experience. Well, this is what you do. Consider how important that gap topic is, or the skill is, to the employer. Then consider how big the gap is, i.e., how long will it take you to fill it? Is it that you need to go away and do an accountancy qualification? Do you need to go and do a lily pad job? Could you go and get some work experience unpaid so that you've got some experience in that space? And then either walk away. I mean that. If you look at this and you say, do you know what, that gap's too big. I can't do that. I'm not prepared to spend those months or those years retraining. Walk away. Because you have to be able to work out if you are prepared to do that. Or you can plan a quick fix. There's a lot of information on YouTube. Or you could go and interview various people who are already in that industry, who are probably Newcastle alumni, like you and I. Our network, when you join my LinkedIn at the end of this, and we're all in there together, we can help. I can connect you to people. That's what the development team do as well. They help people. They're here for us as alumni of the university so that we can make all of these links with each other and help each other. A few interviews with a few people can make you see something quite differently. Either it can put you off or it can show you how to make the steps and even open the doors to get you in. When we know people, we break rules for people, okay? The rules aren't necessarily there because they have to be there. They're just kind of the way things have been done. When you know the right people, they will give you a lift up, okay? So the network is so, so important. Or you plan a full fix is the other option here. You can go on the big course, you can get the full qualification, you can do a long-term lily pad role. It might be for 6 months, it could be for 3 years, so that you get the experience so you can make the application. I personally did this. When I identified a particular job, I really, really wanted to work at Procter & Gamble. And when I looked, I hadn't got what was required. And so I went away and I did another 2 years of preparation before I made the application, so that I was ready. So don't sit there thinking, oh, well, I've got this gap, I can't do it. Of course you can do it. What you have to do is make a plan to fill the gap. And it's not necessarily an instant thing. That's what we have to do here. That's how we deal with gaps. What I suggest you do as well is work out where you're going, down to the company. So map out your preference of 3 sectors or niche ecosystems. What I mean by that is like this. Imagine you wanted to join the car industry. Plot everyone who's in the car industry. You might think of the big brands, oh, Porsche, BMW, Ford, Tesla. Oh, Tesla's different. They're electric. Okay, so maybe there's the battery manufacturers. Tesla make their own famously, but there's other people making batteries. But they've all got tires. But BMW don't make tires, but Pirelli do, and Continental do. So you gradually build it. This is the car industry. Okay, there's a lot more to it than here, but I'm just giving you the start of this. If when you're doing this, you start to get what I call my brand goosebumps, you start to get a feeling, oh, these are exciting brands. I like this bit. Love what Tesla are doing. I can get involved in this. Who is a bit like Tesla? Who's more local to you? Who's on the upcoming in a niche? What you need to start doing is, for example, look at the award ceremonies for the car industry. Not just who won, but who were the nominated companies? Who were the shortlisted players? Because then you'll find companies, brands that you didn't even realize existed, who are bringing in new innovation, exciting things into the development. It may not be a car when we think about it soon. It may be flying. It may be some kind of drone, whatever it might be. This is changing. This is really evolving. But you'll find out where it is. Gravitate or float to the top of the bits that are most interesting. If you wanted to work for Porsche, push it to the top. If you said, I'm never going to work for Ford, don't like it, don't want to work for tire companies, push them to the bottom. Do that for your 3 preferred sectors, and what you'll have is a list of target companies. Okay. Coming to the end of this now, because we're running out of time. I knew there was so much to cover for you. I'm trying to go through it fast, but I want you to get the inspiration behind making the right decisions here. How do we guide those decisions? It's about 3 essential job search criteria lists, and let me show you what they are. First off is your hard criteria list. Now, hard or soft, not important or less important, they're both important. Hard criteria, we use these criteria to brief your search to others. For example, I want to be in the car industry. I want to be in medicine. I want to be in accountancy. I want to work in London. I want to work in Singapore. I want to work in Brisbane, whatever it might be, the hard factors. That I want to report into the board. I want to report into the founders. I want to work in a small startup. That's the hard criteria. That's how you brief others. It's how you brief recruiters. It's how you brief your network so they can become your eyes and ears. Then you need the soft criteria. When they start to bring you opportunities, your soft criteria, imagine this. It looks like, imagine a perfect month, a month in the life of your new ideal job. What does that look like? What are you doing? Is there some time off? Is there some travel? Is there some leadership? Is there some pioneering innovation? Is there teamwork? Are you developing a junior team around you? Are you hiring people? Is there risk? Is there challenge? What happens in a perfect month? And when you distill that down, that becomes your soft criteria. And what happens is when someone brings you an opportunity, you can say, do you know what? That's not good enough for me. I'm not going to move. That grass is not green enough. I'm going to job craft where I am. And also, please, please, please make your list of red flags. Red flags are your early warning cues, your alarm bells to move on and say, you know what, I thought I liked that company, but I didn't realize this went on there. I'm out. Okay, if you don't agree with the Facebook policies, take them off the list. If you don't want to be working, with someone chasing you for things on a Sunday and you want to have your weekend, make sure you find that right culture. Work out what the red flags are. If you don't want micromanagement, make sure you find out before you sign up. In the members area that you're going to get the link to in a moment, you can download my list. It's got examples of all of these things. Then you can populate that for yourself. Okay. The recommended reading. These are things that I've got a lot of value out of myself. I recommend these books, 2 of them by Cal Newport, Deep Work and So Good They Can't Ignore You. Really good, this one, about career direction, So Good They Can't Ignore You. And also, How Will You Measure Your Life by Clayton Christensen. I say, how will you measure your career? What is it you want to be achieving? Because that's what we need to move you towards. What's the lily pad that moves you towards the Everest that you're going to be proud of when you look back? The bonus access, okay, here it is. These are the free resources together with the criteria list. They're all in the members area. All you've got to do is just follow the link, sign in, it's there for you. So you can download those, listen to those, and they will continue what we've been talking about so far on this call. I want to also invite you to take the Career Transition Readiness Scorecard. If you're thinking, like so many of you are, about moving, there's a lot more to it than just resigning. And that's why I'm saying, don't resign yet. Let's make sure you're ready. Take the readiness scorecard. Let's work out, have you got the clarity that you need on your career direction? Have you got your job search methods planned? Do you know which companies are on the list and which sectors you're going to? Are you ready with your interview answers? Is your LinkedIn optimized so that opportunities are already finding you? If not, there's work to be done. That's what this is all about. The Career Transition Readiness Scorecard, we're going to give you that link. It's in there, it's in the members area. You can get into that and you can take it. It's 33 questions. You can do it in less than 10 minutes and it will let you know how on track you are. It's right there. You can go to it now. It's at obviouscandidate.co.uk. All you have to do is click the red button. You go straight into it. You can start doing that. Okay. Whew. How do we do? I know we're running tight, but it was there's so much to get through. I hope that's been useful as promised.
I can't talk for anybody else in the attendance list, but I found it fascinating. I can't believe it's been an hour. I'm like, all right, well, so we've just started. Let's
get keep going, Jeremy. There's so much to talk about. So.
Oh yeah, no, I'm very aware. It's been absolutely fascinating. It's made me think about all the stuff that I do at my job and all the stuff that I'm exactly the same. I fell into my first role and it took me a long time to get out of it.
There's that language. There's that language. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, somebody went, oh, you should do this. I was like, okay. And that was it for 8 years. That was the job. So yeah, what was interesting that a lot of people came up when they talked about push and pull, that there was a significant number of people went, it's both really. I've got things I really don't like, but it wasn't enough on its own. But I've also got this that I want to get to. So
exactly.
That was really useful.
I'm just looking at the chat here as well, just see what is coming in here.
Yeah, I was going to say, obviously, because we've done a really full hour on this. It might be helpful for people to take some time out, really think about any questions that they've got. I know some were submitted already, but we do have the Q&A session next week, and we'll circulate a link into a form tomorrow in the follow-up email from this event, and people can submit questions to that for Q&A. Obviously, if they connect with you on LinkedIn and they're in the group, if they want to ask questions in there as well, we can pick up on those and maybe tackle some of those questions in more depth next week.
Fantastic.
As well.
That's really important. So I know we've gone long. We're kind of going to the wire on this because there's just so much. It is such a big topic, but as you can hopefully tell, I'm so passionate about doing this. I love helping people do it because this is your life. These are the weeks of your life. Don't resign yet. Let's get the planning done. Let's know where we're going, and then we can move more quickly. So it's actually far quicker to do the planning, get that bit right, and then we start moving. It's much quicker than just jumping into search and having a good look round. That doesn't really work in a good way. Do connect with me. I've got a private LinkedIn group. It's not listed. You can't find it. It's because I want to be discreet, because some of you have got bosses out there. So we talk in there about all things careers, different levels. There's loads of great content. So join me, connect with me on LinkedIn, and I will then send you an invitation to come and join that group so that you're a part of it. If you want the link, I know it's in the chat as well. This is the link to sign up for that members area. So you'll get all the content. I'm going to put these slides in there as well, so you can go back through, do those exercises that I've been talking through. Most importantly, honestly, revisit the questions, revisit those big questions. That's what's important, and work through, give yourself time. Now, what we're looking for, as Jeremy started to explain, next week, we're back again, same time in exactly a week's time. I want you to go away and think about this. And I also want to extend an invitation to any brave souls out there who would like to volunteer themselves as a case study. And I mean that very, very seriously, because ideally what we'll do is we can talk, you and I, a little bit in between, and we could take, I'm looking for maybe 3 or 4 people where we can take a specific career change question that you're facing. And what we'll try and do between Jeremy and myself, we will plan hopefully 4 different cases so that we can then do that next week. We'll spend about 10 minutes on each one, and then we'll do a bit of a general Q&A to wrap this up. But it would be amazing if you can all rejoin, I'm sure, you know, and those of you who stayed, I see that the people who were here are still here, all of you, that's brilliant. Thank you for staying. We will be back, and what we'll try and do, even those who are in the Philippines, I noticed that, and Thailand, big thanks out there. So we'll be back, we can go through any specific questions, and so we can pick that back up. So the next session is all about doing exactly that. So I hope that's clear. If there's any more questions, a few have just come back more into the chat. So this next session, just think about it. I'm going to put that back up so you've got that link down there at the bottom. I'm just going to check the chat again. See that.
And whilst I'm checking the chat, I'm just going to do one last wrap up bit from our side, from the housekeeping side. We ask everybody at the end of every event, there is one more poll just to finish out, which my colleague Danika's put up. Can you please just let us know how you found the event? It's really helpful for us to know that we're on the right track for you guys and that we're providing you the content that you're looking for. So if you please just take a minute to, like, a second to click the answers on that, that'd be excellent. Thank you. And yeah, hopefully.
This is by far the scariest poll of the evening, quite frankly.
Yes. Yeah, it's always a little bit worried, like nerve-wracking, I suppose, is the right answer to figure out how people feel about your events. But yeah, again, as Sam said at the throughout this, thank you so much for giving up your evening and coming to this event. We really do hope that you found it useful, and hope to see most of your names in the event next week as well.
Very good. Looking forward to that. And thank you so much, Jeremy, to you, the team, and the university for hosting me. I really appreciate it.
Sam, thank you to you for giving up your time and giving us your expertise and knowledge and wisdom on all this as well. It's really greatly appreciated.
Thanks so much.
Thanks very much, everybody. Have a lovely evening. Enjoy the rest of your week and your weekend, and hopefully I'll see you all next week. Thanks very much. Have a lovely evening.